Pinnacle Real Estate Group presents The Key Turners with hosts Ryan and Matthew. Key turns agents need to turn more keys. On today's episode, Ryan and Matthew will be focusing on overcoming new agent challenges. Now, without further ado, let's listen in.
Thank you for tuning in. You are now listening to Pinnacle Real Estate Group presents The Key Turners with your hosts Ryan and Matthew. For those of you tuning in for the first time, this podcast focuses on key turns agents need to turn more keys. How are you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing well, and today we have a special guest. You may recognize her voice from our website About Us page, and you may also recognize her voice as our show's intro and outros. She's an entrepreneur, a consultant with lots of client management experiences, and she is also our business communications instructor and our trainer at Pinnacle Real Estate Group. Please welcome our beloved colleague, Angela.
Hi, thanks for having me. So glad to be here.
Well, we appreciate you making time. So let's jump right into it. This episode, we're going to be covering quite a few topics, but the main overarching theme is overcoming new agent challenges. So in dealing with the agents that we onboard, I speak a lot with our agents about entrepreneurship, starting their business, the cost of doing business, personal finances, budgeting, aiming to keep low overhead, all the startup things that you need to have at the forefront when you're embarking on a new journey. I think some agents don't always realize this, though, when they start in this career or in this field. So, Angela, for agents looking to join this industry, what are some business startup fees and overhead that new agents are going to face that they should be aware of?
Well, I'm so glad that we are addressing this topic today. This is a pretty serious topic, but actually also very necessary. And we're talking about this stuff not to deter or discourage anybody. It's just to prepare that new agent on what's to come so that when they are better prepared, they're more likely to succeed. When you ask me about startup costs, wow, there are so many levels of startup costs. So, for example, if an agent, even before the agent gets their license, you know that they have to enroll in some kind of a real estate school. That could be several $100s. And then there are the exam fees that they would have to fork out to take the real estate exam. And now where I'm going to start talking about fees is after they've received their real estate license. So after they get their DRE, a Department of Real Estate number, they are officially a real estate agent. So after they get their license, if they want to start selling and buying houses for sellers and buyers, they need to get signed up with a brokerage. So getting signed up with a brokerage typically is free. Typically, but a lot of brokerages, and this is the trend nowadays because of costs and overhead going up, a lot of brokerages charge agents to be signed up with them. They charge something called either a franchise fee if that brokerage is a franchise. If not, they charge something called a desk fee, and that's just for the agent to be signed up because that agent may get to use that brokerage's copy machine, scanning service, printing. So everything costs money. There's electricity, there's other utilities, the brokerage's internet. So the brokerage definitely wants to pass that cost to the agent, right? So there are those fees that the agents usually do pay the brokerage. And now once they get signed up with the brokerage, let's just say, they pay whatever fee the brokerage charges on a monthly basis. There's the fee of joining the association. And the association, some people call it the board, but it's an association where every real estate agent needs to join if they want to start making transactions, because that gives them access to the multiple listing service, the MLS. That gives them basically a designation called a realtor. So when people out there see realtor, right behind someone else's name, that's every real estate agent is not a realtor. You're a realtor when you join the board. Okay, and the board, when you join the board, pay their fees, then you are officially a realtor, and you have access to all the services, sometimes all the classes that the board offers. So that startup fee can range from, I mean, it depends on what area of the country you live in, but it could be hundreds up to $1,000 just to start up, right? And then some of those fees, there are recurring costs every quarter. There are hundreds of dollars in recurring costs every quarter. So there's that fee. Okay, so after you get signed up with a brokerage, you join the association. There's also marketing costs, and the very basic marketing cost you should consider that's necessary are business cards. Every single real estate agent has business cards. And of course, that's not a huge amount of money, but it's at least $50, $60, $70, depending on the type of business card you order. Some agents need to pay out of pocket for printing, for flyers. If they're doing an open house, if they have a listing, they need to pay out of pocket those costs as well. And also, depending on which brokerage you sign up with, sometimes it's just better to work from home because that brokerage may not offer all the facilities and equipment and services that you need to run your business. So you need to set up a home office, and you need to consider, do you have space in your house for that home office? And also, if you don't already have an all-in-one copier, scanner, and printing machine, you got to get that. And you may have to upgrade your cell phone, upgrade your data plan, because now you're going to be texting and sending images and processing files and doing so many things on your phone. So there are those costs as well. And last but not least, well, not even last, but the next item of business is yeah, like small items, small things, such as if you want a designated number to run your business with, you would have to apply for a business number, which could cost you $40, $50 more a month, attached onto your current cell phone bill. So those are just some of the costs associated with getting started in selling real estate.
Wow, Angela, that sounds like a lot of fees that might definitely scare someone away from joining this career at all. But how's the experience of joining Pinnacle as a real estate agent in comparison to what is, widely available on the market?
Okay, well, thanks for asking that question, because Pinnacle, in relation to other brokerages, do not charge a franchise fee. Pinnacle, we do not charge a desk fee. Everything that I just listed, scanning services, printing, making copies, drinking coffee, okay,
Right.
free internet.
That's important for every entrepreneur.
That's important. Lots and lots of quality coffee, and the HVAC system.
Right.
I mean, basically, it's a home away from home, and there are no fees to start, other than, of course, reasonably what the commission split is when you make a deal. So in short, there are no upfront costs with Pinnacle until you make a transaction.
That's good, because so when I'm dealing with new agents and I'm talking with them, that's one of the things that we do have to discuss, is because when they're starting a business and there are startup fees, and then if they do end up onboarding or signing with Pinnacle, we do have ways to keep their overhead low. And we start off by trying to be in their corner to eliminate some of these fees so they can actually focus on the training and the business side of what they need to do to learn the industry.
You actually touched on training, and I wanted to hit that real quick because that's something that I forgot. So don't misunderstand. Every single real estate agent needs to join the association. You need to subscribe to an electronic key, an e-key, $15 a month, to open doors that are vacant if they have lock boxes. All those things are every single real estate agent needs to do. But Pinnacle, like I said, has no fees. But since you mentioned training, I just have to interject really quickly, because some of the startup costs for a new agent would be educational costs. it would be classes.
That's a valid point. That's
Yeah.
a valid point, especially if you're doing it independently and your brokerage doesn't offer those classes, or your the board that you join is not active in the education side.
Exactly. If your brokerage, I mean, boards always offer, I'm not going to lie, boards always offer classes, but the classes they offer are pretty general, so to speak, and it's always up to the particular brokerage to provide additional, more in-depth and specific training to the agent. And if you're with a brokerage that don't offer those things, you actually have to buy those courses in order to get yourself acquainted with contracts, negotiations, how to talk to clients, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that Pinnacle is really good at is classes and training in all levels of real estate, whether it's the new agent or the agent that's been doing this for 5-10 years and has plateaued. Pinnacle does have classes to cover all those different agent experience levels.
Well, I appreciate all that insight. That's definitely something that they're going to have to keep in mind if they're barely starting or trying to make a decision if this is the industry for them. But these aren't the only challenges that new agents face. They're not only financial. So, Angela, what are some other challenges that new agents sometimes encounter, maybe even unexpectedly, or that have to do with this industry?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because there are some challenges that are not as obvious and not as talked about. And I'm just going to go through a couple of them again, just to prep the agent. One of the challenges is, well, if this is your first time getting into the real estate field as an agent, there is a certain stigma of becoming a real estate agent. And there is a stigma of being a salesperson, and there is a stigma of being a real estate agent. So some people think that, you're a real estate agent, you must make lots of money, or, oh, you're a real estate agent and all you do is just open doors, show people houses, and make lots of money without doing much work. Or, everybody and their mothers are real estate agents. I know 5 agents in my sphere of influence. My neighbor's sister is an agent, and my niece is an agent, and you're an agent. So it must not be that hard, right, being a real estate agent. So getting into the real estate field sometimes is not going to be, it might surprise you of what certain people might think. Now, just as a quick side note, just because a lot of people have real estate licenses, it does not mean that they are actively practicing real estate. And it does not mean that even if they're practicing real estate, it doesn't mean they're full-time. Even if they're full-time, it doesn't mean that they are doing well, that they're successful.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because there's a big conversation that I often have, specifically with business owners and entrepreneurs. And we've talked about this off the microphones before, the entrepreneur and the wantrepreneur, right? So anyone can open up an Instagram account and say they're doing something. But the point that I'm hearing from you is there's a lot of agents that may be licensed, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're active in the field. So sometimes we're hearing about these oversaturated markets, but really it really comes down to who's doing the work.
Exactly. You put it better than I did. Don't be scared off. I don't want the new agent to be scared off by the fact that there are a lot of real estate people with real estate licenses, because most of them are not your competitors.
So you brought up a good point about talking about your sphere of influence and potential competitors already in your small circle. When you start a new business, you have to let people know you're in business. So what are ways that new agents can start to network out and to let people know that they are actually open for business?
Well, one of the ways, and this is sales 101, and this pertains to most industries, right, where you're trying to sell something or just anything, is that you need to let people know that you are in business. So you need to let we call it the sphere of influence. You need to let your sphere of influence know that you are a real estate agent. You are now a real estate agent. And some of the ways that people do that, there are online methods and also offline methods. So online methods include online internet online platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, or other more sophisticated and trendy apps that I probably do not know, LinkedIn, you need to go online and register yourself as a realtor, as a professional realtor. And you need to let people know that you now have a license and can sell and buy houses. Now, what I mean by sphere of influence is you need to also verbally let your family know. You need to let your relatives know, no matter what part of the country they live in, right? You need to let your friends from elementary school, okay, from kindergarten, high school, college know that you are now a real estate agent. You need to let the people that were your previous coworkers know that you now buy and sell houses. That's sphere of influence. You need to let everybody know, online and offline, that you are now a real estate agent.
Okay, Angela, that is someone being a professional real estate agent should do, but also at the same time, I do heard a lot of buzz about a phenomenon that is called a secret agent. Do you know anything about that by any chance?
Yes.
Tell us about the secret agents.
Well, it's that most real estate agents are actually FBI.
What? This
Okay.
is news to me.
So I don't know who coined that term, but it is floating around out there. Some real estate agents are secret agents. And what that means is now they got their license, they're signed up with a great brokerage, they have their business cards made, they're ready to go. However, they do not want, and they're very hesitant and reluctant to let anyone know that they are a real estate agent. So, for example, they don't call up their family and friends and tell them that they're embarking on this new exciting career. When they go get their haircut, they do not tell their hairdresser that they're now an agent. When they get their nails done, that is the perfect opportunity to let your manicurist know that you're now a real estate agent. But they don't want to do any of that.
Why is it? What have you come across for when you're talking with agents? What is one or two of the commonalities that you kind of see floating to the top as to why they want to stay in the secret agent category?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. And again, it's really personal for each individual person. And I don't want to speak for anyone else. But from what I've heard speaking to different agents, there's the one thing of fear of failure. They got a real estate license, wanting to try it out, hearing a lot of good things about real estate, such as unlimited income potential, freedom, and meeting people, and just being really wonderful and exciting. But they don't know if they're going to succeed. They're not confident that they're going to do well. They have a fear that they're going to fail. So they don't want to let anybody know just yet, just in case they do fail. And that does happen. So, that could be a reason. Or I've heard from several agents that this is very interesting. They don't want to step on any toes. So, for example, church or any place of worship is a great place to let people know what you do, because you help out each other. That's what you do, right? It is a very supportive group. However, if there's already a couple of good veteran real estate agents in your church or place of worship, you may not want to become their competitor. You want to keep on fostering that goodwill, right? You don't want them to look at you differently or to think that you're trying to steal their business or compete with them. So you don't tell anybody at your church that you're a real estate agent. Also, another interesting one is, and this happens to a lot of kind of agents where they're not, super right out of school, maybe they're mid-career. Sometimes real estate agents, they come from a career background that is perhaps lucrative, perhaps seemingly is a good career to some, and they've quit that career because they're super burned out. They don't find fulfillment anymore, and they just don't want to do it anymore. And they get their real estate license hoping to transition to becoming a full-time agent. Well, sometimes when they post on social media that, hey, I'm a real estate agent now, their grandma from Idaho is going to call them and be like, hey, you have such a great job at Google, or, or hey, why don't you want to be a doctor anymore, or a nurse, or, what about your legal career? Some of their family members, out of concern for their well-being, actually will be discouraging of the fact that they want to be a real estate agent. So they may not want to tell anybody or to advertise.
So when you're running into these agents who fall into the secret agent category, for a lot of great examples that you just listed, and ones that are pretty common, I think I've come across some, if not all of those as well myself. What are some of the things that you tell them? What are some of the key points that you can point out to help them not only change their perspective, but maybe even shift their mentality a little bit?
All right, Matthew, I actually might have some few pointers for the question you just asked for new agents to overcome the challenges they might face. So the first one is the agent that is licensed, the agent that is active, and the agent that is a professional realtor is actually three very different things. The amount of agents that is licensed in the entire nation is about 3 million-ish. And among those licensed agents, there are only about 1.6 are designated as realtors, which is roughly half of all licensed agents. I think these are data from 2022 or something. And the actual realtors, the one that is actually may or may not be active in conducting professional real estate transactions, are only about a quarter to 1/3 of the total number. So, which means even though under an impression that everyone and their mom could have a real estate license, they're not all actual real estate agents. So if you're being afraid of the amount of competitors out there, I think that is probably just a scare to yourself.
So in case you haven't picked it up, Ryan is really well researched, and one of our data analysis here. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that's a good point. I think understanding the demographics of what you're really up against and how many are actually active, especially in your locality, is something to keep in mind to maybe overcome some of those fears. Angela, some of the other stuff that you mentioned with these fears that new agents are facing, what are some of the other things that you can share with them to help them not be so fixated on that, but really be solution oriented versus problem oriented?
Yeah, you guys actually hit the nail on the head of the last couple of sentences. Is mindset. Mindset is key, and it's something that you have to be resourceful about. So the first, I would suggest the first course of action for you would be to figure out what is holding you back. What is holding you back from jumping all in, giving it 110%. So if you need to tweak your mindset, then, do it the old school way. Go read some self-help books, watch some YouTube videos, talk to people, adjust your mindset, making or breaking it. Really, mindset is key. And another point I'd like to bring up is that nobody really cares. Nobody really cares about what you do. Nobody really cares about you the way that you think they do. Okay.
So we've had some previous conversations, obviously, because we talk with agents, almost on a daily basis, if not a daily basis, and we're addressing certain things with them. You profoundly shared this mentality, this mindset specifically that you have imparted to some of the agents that we've onboarded to try to get them to understand that the perceptions that they have may not always be accurate. Can you speak to a little bit about that mindset and the catchy name you've given it?
Well, the catchy name, I don't know if I've actually given it, but really, really keep your blind spot. Okay, because what I mean to say by blind spot is that just like a horse has blinders on, okay, sometimes for various reasons, so that it doesn't freak out, so the horse can just focus on directly what's in front of it. definitely keep those blinders on from negativity and from people who are naysayers in your new chosen career. Some of them mean well, and I'm sure most of them mean well, but they are not going to help you become more confident and become a better agent.
Angela's being very polite, and I think that was a great analogy, but we've also called it the who cares mentality.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Who cares?
Who cares?
Nobody, Matt. Nobody really cares what you do.
And that's honestly, that is the key point that I think a lot of people forget, because they get in their own head, right? They start overthinking, like you were sharing before, like, oh, you're leaving a lucrative profession, or you know, they have their opinion about what capabilities they think that you can do. And a lot of times what I've noticed is a lot of the naysayers are projecting. It's because you're representing something that they can't do, or they didn't have enough boldness inside them to make a shift or a change. But the who cares mentality kind of plays its part in the role of, once you make that decision, you got to face the realities of what you're going into. So if you're going to fully commit, right, you can't really care what too many people think, especially if they're not helping you get to that result that you want to ultimately achieve, right?
Yes, absolutely. You may become gossip fodder for the 2 days. You know, your Aunt Gina from Maine is going to talk about and call all her bingo buddies, you know, and complain to them that.
Yeah, but even with that, right? If she calls and complains like, oh, my niece or nephew, they just started this, they're throwing their career away. I don't know what they're doing. You know what? You don't know. She's marketing for you at that point. Because if any of those people are coming to move into California, guess what? They at least have a lead on who the agent could be that they can contact, right?
That's wonderful. Wow. You really put the positivity in everything. And that's exactly what you need to do as an agent. Okay.
Right.
And speaking of changing a perspective from negativity to positivity, that I feel like, for example, that you provided, Angela, if he or she left his previous lucrative career and became a real estate agent, I feel like if he or she could turn this mentality to the point of not exactly who cares, but what is more beneficial when it comes to pondering around about worrying about people judging this person, or what can I utilize my previous relationship and networkings to help with my new career. I feel like this could be the exact solution for jumpstarting their career in real estate. Is if they came from a lucrative background in terms of professional careers, they probably, their colleagues, their networking, all their whatever friends group they had back then could be financially capable of investing, or at the point of their life purchasing primary properties or investment homes.
Ryan, you're bringing up a good point, because if you do have a lucrative career, right?
Yes.
You've built trust already with a demographic of people. And if it was lucrative, they may have money to invest, right? That's what you were saying. So, but even if it's not a lucrative career financially, if you've built trust in a sphere of influence, going back to what you were saying, Angela, if you built that trust with them and now you're taking on this new venture, that trust in many circumstances is a transferable asset that you can bring to your new business. Because if they've trusted you to accomplish tasks before, and they've seen your work ethic and they've seen how diligent you were prior to, then why would those traits leave just because you're in a new career? Right? So sometimes we have to think and reflect, like, what was it that made me successful in my former career, and how can I parlay this into my new career? And then exposing that to your network, which is why we can't be the secret agent, right? We have to be willing to tell the people, because if they're already bought into us, then we might be able to help them in their next home transition or transaction.
And that's called being resourceful and turning lemons into lemonade, turning ginger into ginger ale.
Right.
I don't know if that's what it's made of. But yeah, definitely. Instead of being bogged down, right, by the mental stress of people judging you, the negative people will stay negative, but you can, from there, you can harvest additional contact, that you can turn into buyers or sellers. And that's just how resourceful you have to be.
So let me ask you this, Angela. There's a lot of reasons why people want to even get into real estate. What's something that you commonly hear from new agents that are even looking to transition, and why is it important to remember why they want to change their careers?
It's important to recall why you wanted to get started in real estate in the first place, because that is the thing that gets you motivated. That is the thing that can help you overcome your fear of being found out, or your fear of being criticized and judged, or marketing, or cold calling, or door knocking, or learning, or failure. Why did you want to do it in the first place? And I hear a lot of people say that, well, because the income potential is unlimited. That is true. There's the flexibility with time. You never have to miss your kids' softball games, ever. And there's the full autonomy. You can, if you're dealing with a difficult client, there are things you can do. You can write them off. You can choose not to do weekends or evenings. You can run your business however you wish to run it.
That's one of the main points that I like to talk to entrepreneurs about, is their selection of their book of clients that they can either keep open or close. That's one thing you can't get in another job, right? Unless you're in business for yourself.
Exactly. You do. All those decisions, of course, do come with consequences, obviously. When you feel, sometimes you'll feel like you're forced to work nights and weekends. You're forced to deal with a particular client, no matter how difficult they are. But those are your choices. Those are your choices, and they may cost you the client, but they're not going to cost you your job. As if you were in a regular job, those decisions will cost you your entire job. So a lot of people get into real estate for those reasons, and also I want to mention that it is a great opportunity to meet different people and learn more about the world if that's what you're into.
No, and I think that holistic perspective, right? When you kind of see the scope outside of your own 9 to 5 of maybe what you're currently in, you're desiring that you want more out of life. This is one way that you can potentially achieve that. You still have to put the work in. You're still going to have to be disciplined, but this is an avenue to be explored for some people, for the right people, right? The highly disciplined or people that are highly organized usually are pretty successful in this career. But you know what? This has been a very sobering conversation, but it's been a healthy one, and one that I think is needed, especially if you're a new agent or on the cusp of making that decision to enter into this industry. So for the agents still listening, that's made it to the end of the journey with us, and they've gotten over all the hurdles or the hard conversations that we have leading up to this moment, what would you tell that agent, the one that's still with us and still considering and still is considering a career in real estate?
Well, I would like to tell them that once you decide, and only you can decide, that you want to be a professional, full-time real estate agent, it's important to fully engage yourself, be present, be diligent, and most importantly, be positive.
Well, that was an awesome episode, and I appreciate you guys making time. Angela, thank you again for sharing all your insight, all your wisdom. I know you're one of the few that's at the front line, so you are receiving a lot of information, and I think this is really going to be beneficial to our new and experienced agents. And most importantly, if you're looking for a new brokerage and you're looking for a brokerage in the state of California, even specifically Southern California, please do not hesitate. Reach out to us. Go to our website, preg365.com/career. Call us up or fill out that form, and we would be happy to let you know about what we have going on at Pinnacle. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and appreciate your time.
Also, thank you, Angela. We know we asked you for a lot, especially when we first were building our website. We have to ask you to come in every day, try our studio out, record all these video clips and the audio clips for our voiceovers.
Well, thank you for letting me do that. That was amazing.
Yeah, no, we had a great time. So for more information, again, please visit our website, preg365.com, and we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Pinnacle Real Estate Group presents The Key Turners with hosts Ryan and Matthew. Key turns agents need to turn more keys. For more information, please visit our website, preg365.com.